Okay, so tonight I'm going to be giving a speech about skin cancer. So you're probably sitting there wondering why about skin cancer. So my task was to give an informative speech. And I was sitting in my anatomy and physiology class the other day and I was learning a bunch of stuff about skin cancer that I didn't know. Like, did you know that 1 in 5 Americans develop skin cancer at some point in their lives? Because I didn't know that. So if there's 10 people in here, then 2 of us are likely to get skin cancer at some point in our lives. Okay. Did you know that skin cancer survival rate in the U.S. for African Americans is 59%, while the survival rate for Caucasians is 85%?
Why is that?
Because so African Americans, since we have melanin, the pigment, it's a lot less like a lot of African American people think, well, I don't have to wear sunscreen because my skin's dark and I'm not going to get sunburnt. But it's harder to find those sources. Like if you have a mole or something, it's harder to find because your skin's darker.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how much I didn't know until I was taking this class, and I was like, wow, that'll be a good topic. Okay, so there are 3 forms of skin cancer: basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and melanoma. All 3 are caused ultimately by exposure to UV rays. Okay, so basal cell carcinoma is the most common type of skin cancer. It affects over 4 million people in the U.S. each year, but it's the cancer that is benign, or they don't really call it cancer. And a lot of times they don't even report it to agencies who keep track of that, because if it's not something serious, then they don't worry about it. But signs and symptoms include open sores, red patches, pink growths, shiny bumps, or scars. Very rarely cases metastasize, which they spread, but it's not very likely with this one. It still shouldn't be taken lightly, because it really does affect your skin in that area, and what it does is it changes your DNA. Okay, squamous cell carcinoma is the second most common type of skin cancer. If SEC is ignored, it can penetrate deeper tissue, which then would cause the removal of a larger part of an area. So what people do is they see a bump on their nose and they don't think anything of it. And if they let that go without getting it checked, then they may end up having to have a piece of their nose removed. Like the lady in our class that we learned about, she had that bump and she let it go, and she ended up having a big hole in her nose that they had to take skin from other places on her body because it affects those deeper tissues. Rare cases occur when the cancer metastasizes distant tissues, such as your limbs, and that's when it becomes really dangerous, because once it's that far, you're in the later stages. These are thick, rough, scaly patches that can bleed if bumped, scratched, or scraped. They often look like warts and sometimes appear as open sores with raised border and a crusted surface. Okay, then the last one is melanoma. This is the most dangerous type of skin cancer. Every hour of every day, so 24 hours a day, 1 person dies each hour from melanoma. And this is the one that actually why African Americans have a lower survival rate, is because they don't find it until they're in stage 3 or 4. So by that point, it's spreading all over your body, and it's just not good. Early detection, even in Caucasians, is really the key to survival for this one. So any new growths on your skin, the American Cancer Society suggests that you do self-examinations every month and that you see a doctor once a year. Okay, they have an ABCD rule by the American Cancer Society about how you differentiate normal versus cancer. So these bottom ones down here are melanoma. The top ones are normal bumps or warts or moles, whatever you would call them, but they tell you to look at the asymmetry, the border around it, the color. You see how this one has two different colors. The diameter, how round it is. They say if it's bigger than a pencil eraser to have it checked. And then evolving. Is it changing? Does it move? Okay, so some skin cancer prevention. Obviously seek the shade. Even if you're African American, you're still able to get skin cancer. Do not let yourself get burnt. If you're at the beach, always use sunblock. Avoid tanning and UV tanning booths. Cover up with clothing. Use a broad spectrum sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher every day. Apply 1 ounce of sunscreen to your entire body 30 minutes before going outside. And keep your newborns out of the sun because kids can get cancer too. And that is all. Do I have any questions?
So you're saying that moles on your face, because I have a number of moles on my face.